the sound of redemption. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. Igniting the fire within you. Exalting the melody of freedom. These are the things that will bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Down, down, down.
Let me tell you, it's in the air. Joy is in the air. Love is in the air. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Don't sleep on it, brother. You might get left, sister. Can you feel it? What it feel like? Freedom. What it feel like? Justice. No need to be counted, cause I am down. Down, down, down. Down, down, down. Down for the end of racism, for the end of bigotry, cause I am down. For the end of misogyny, that's right. For all the isms out there, just down, down, down. Let's bring it down. Rise up, people. No more foolishness, and let's bring it way down.
Riding the river of change into the cries of contrition. This is the way that we bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. We are the children of Eden, dancing and celebrating freedom. We are the ones that must bring it down. Down, down, 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 down. So gather the faithful. Tell everyone to stand and shout loud. Shout loud. Shout loud. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it down, down. Let's bring it down. Let's bring it way down. Let's bring it down. We've got to bring it down. Down. Stand up and shout. Stand up and shout. Rise together.
Accountability starts now. The Eric Dawson Radio Show.
Yeah. Rise up. Stand up, shout it loud.
If you are not prepared to come to that table and to represent that voice, don't come. Because we don't need any more brown faces that don't want to be a brown voice. We don't need black faces that don't want to be a black voice. We don't need Muslims that don't want to be a Muslim voice. We don't need queers that don't want to be a queer voice. And if you're worried about being marginalized and stereotyped, please don't even show up.
guys, welcome to Tuesday, right?
Round two of the Gorilla in Manila.
Round two. Well, let me get my
So
microphone
far, it's
set.
Frazier one.
Wait, no, no. But so we let us show some decorum. There we go. There we go.
Okay.
All right.
Good morning.
So good morning. See, there we go. There we go. See that?
Good morning, Eric.
Good
See,
m-
you teach
good-
them. You gotta train them.
That's what my mother said, Diane. You gotta
No,
train
see,
them.
The problem is that the pre-show was so spirited that I was already in second cup of coffee mood.
Ah, okay. I get it.
Come on. What's up, Eric? For today, you got Deidre on yet?
Well, I'm making sure she's on the screen. Okay, there she is. So see. This is the fancy stuff we do here. So you see, I just switched the screen over. See that? The screen just switched over, and there's beautiful Deidre Viney. Good morning, guys. Today's Tuesday, Deidre Viney Day. Deidre, it's cold. Last time you were on, it was warm. What are you doing?
Let me tell you something, Eric. Yesterday, I had a meeting at. Oh, I'm gonna close my blinds, Eric. You didn't tell me I had a halo. I had a meeting.
Oh, I thought that was your godliness.
I'm like an angel.
That's what I'm saying. Listen. I wasn't mad at it. I thought I was
in the background.
Yeah, I was in the presence. I thought I was in the presence of holiness.
You see, I have a beautiful view of the city as well as the Empire State.
Oh, wait a minute. Wait. Time out. See, I thought this was another green screen. You're actually in the office.
Real, look, I can focus.
I'm telling you, I thought it was a green screen.
I didn't realize that I get a lot of that.
Oh, that is a beautiful view. Yo, that is a CEO view. That's what that is. Go ahead, girl. Yo, you know what I'm talking about too, right? You got them interior offices, right? You got the cubicles, you got all that. Then you got the office that has the windows and the view. And when you walk in that office, you know whose office you are in. There we go. There we go.
Deal with it.
So I had my green screen today, Eric, but I was just telling my staff when I walked in, my 15-year-old son is the only one in the family that knows how to close it. And so I was being very aggressive this morning when I was like, do I want to open it? Because then that's going to require me to sit here and figure out how to close it because I can't put it in my car.
Yeah.
And that's going to look crazy, me in the elevator with this big old green screen trying to... So I opted to not use said green screen.
Okay. Well, let me ask you: is he back in school physically?
So get this, he went last week. Oh my God, this is a funny story. My daughter has been back for about a month. Elementary school started first.
Okay.
She goes Wednesday and Thursday, and because they're siblings, they go the same day. Because he's my babysitter. Because my husband, who's an educator, is back at work 5 days a week, all day. So last Wednesday was my son's first day back at school.
Okay.
But he has to get on the school bus. It's on the other side of town. And they changed the hours for the high school because these kids had complained about they wanted their sleep and 7 o'clock is just too early to start anything. And I agree because it was like it's like pulling teeth to try to get them out of bed at 6 to get on that bus at 7.
Mm-hmm.
So fast forward, they took this opportunity during pandemic to change the hours. Their rationale was that they wanted to keep the kids at school for sports. Our town decided instead of a full day of Zoom, you only got a half a day. And so if they change the hours to a bit later, the buses won't have to go back and forth to get the kids that wanted to actually do sports.
Athletics.
So they changed the hours to 9:45 to like 2:15, I think it is, for the high school. My daughter's hours didn't change, 8:45 to 12:15.
Mm-hmm.
Still a half a day though. Sometimes they'll have things in the afternoon and they have independent study, but the intention was to not have them on technology, Zooming all day. Like some school districts, the kids are in the seat from 8:15 to 3, which is painful.
Yeah.
And so this was my district's answer to that, was that they would give them independent study at home. So fast forward, my son's first day back after a year is last Wednesday. I dropped my daughter at school and realized about a half an hour in that I had forgotten to make sure he was up.
because he's actually kind of independent. He sets his own alarm clock, gets his shower, breakfast, and out the door.
Mm-hmm.
But this is his very first day of not doing it in 1 year. So by the time I realized this, I dropped her off. I go and run an errand. I come back from said errand because he's not answering his cell phone. Because I'm calling the cell phone saying, "Are you up? Are you up?" Not answering. I come back, and not only is he not up, he's sleeping, and it's now 10 o'clock.
Oof.
Wow.
So he has missed the 9 o'clock bus, and he's late for 9:45 class.
Oh, my goodness.
So guess what happened the next day, Eric? The next day, Mama was on fire. Mama was like, I got my daughter to school. I came back. I made sure my son got on the bus. And then I sat there. I kid you not. It was 9:05. I sat there in a quiet house for the very first time on a weekday, and nobody was there.
Wow.
I had like a moment. I was like,
Hallelujah.
do I run around? Do I have to what do I do? I got to be coherent because I got to pick my daughter up at 12:15 because she comes home early, right?
Right.
My son, he won't be home until almost 3, and that's why I decided on those days I would work from home.
Mm-hmm.
But I'm sitting there but I realized I had a moment. I was like, and then I thought about it. I said, I'm gonna have this moment every Wednesday and Thursday if I get my son out the house.
Wow. So you got it. So you're adjusting to another new normal now.
Another new normal.
Yeah.
And I will say though, I kind of liked it. I not to say that I don't love my family, but it's just nice to be home with nobody, no sound. And I love sound. My husband's the opposite. He wants music playing, blah blah blah. Nope. I want nothing on.
Well, you know what's interesting, Deidre? My sister is, maybe this is the prelude to empty nester, right? Syndrome, right? So you're easing into it with some incremental changes in your life. So they're getting older. You're now, because of this, getting to experience, going from frantic mom, noise all around, trying to organize everything, to having a brief moment of this. Because my sister, she just got dumped into it. And so she's an empty nester. And for the first, I don't know, like months, she was lost. She was absolutely lost. She would wake up just anxiety ridden because she had nothing to do. Nobody's life to organize. After.
If I ever had nothing to do, Eric, oh my gosh, that would be a wonderful hour.
A whole hour?
That's called death.
Is that death?
I like to say that, Diane, that's my running joke with my friends. They're like, Diva, when you ever going to slow down? I was like, when I die.
Is that death?
That's what I tell people. I'm like, when I die, I think I'm going to rest for, 200-300 years.
So that's really interesting.
So, nonetheless, they came back home,
and life
was
really
excited because he had a chance to literally be in person. But get this, Eric, there was only one other kid in all his classes. These kids they don't want to go to school.
Wow.
They're comfortable rolling out of bed 2 minutes before they got to turn the computer on.
And turn the computer on.
No shower. They don't brush their teeth. They've done it for a year.
Right.
Yeah, that's right.
We've always made our son get up, at least take a shower, brush his teeth, because we got to live with him.
Yeah.
He has to walk past us. So, we required that. But some kids, they leave their room. They go downstairs. They get something to eat. They bring the food upstairs. And so he was, even though it was only one kid, he was very happy. However, fast forward just yesterday, they had apparently an outbreak at the school.
Oh, really?
Now they are canceling in-person instruction until 2 weeks after spring break, April 19th.
See?
They literally went 1 day in 1 year.
See that?
Not to mention $140,000 to sterilize the school again.
So, Deidre, I have a question. Have they talked about whether the teachers are going to be required to get vaccinated? Because I know there's been a lot of turmoil here in New Jersey about the teachers.
They have not. However, my daughter's school, apparently they also had a COVID case, but because of social distancing, because of masks, whatever child or adult was infected with COVID, those particular people are not able to come back to school for 2 weeks. My daughter's going to school tomorrow, and she's happy. Like the first day back, she had her bag by the door. She had her outfit picked up like it was the first day of school, and then they canceled it that day because it was supposedly like snowing or whatever. I don't know if you guys remember my Facebook feed.
Mm-hmm.
She like was so happy, and when I had to break it to her that they were doing virtual that day because it was supposed to snow later, the tears just came welling down.
Wow.
And I said, I had to get into mommy mode. I said, hey, Dana, do you want to come to school, work with me? Because we practice social distancing in my office. We all wear masks. We're very respectful. We've been doing it since June of last year. And first she was like, no. I said, well, there's a really great pizza place right down the stairs. And Dunkin' Donuts is right across the street. So if you go, you'll get both. She was like, okay.
Oh,
nice.
That's heartbreaking for a child. So are they requiring the teachers to get tested weekly? Because if you come down with it, I'm thinking it's just because somebody got sick. It's not necessarily that they were going somewhere and got tested. Like, have they said anything about that?
They really haven't. And I think the premise to me as a parent is you're doing what CDC says.
Mm-hmm.
You're social distancing. Dana only has 3 kids in her class because a lot of parents have chosen to keep their kids home. So her class normally has 15, and because of hybrid, there's a cohort A and a cohort B. So cohort A goes every Monday, Tuesday. Cohort B goes Wednesday, Thursday, and Friday everybody's home. But even still, she should have 7 kids in her class, and she has 3. And guess what? Those are 3. Those are 3 of her friends, so she's happy as anything.
Gotcha. So are they sending home weekly notices or stuff about what they're doing or anything?
They are. So our superintendent has been very, very vigilant. I mean, we just started in February. We were supposed to start in November, but then when the cases started going up in Essex County, they put the halt on it. And then it was Christmas, and then it was January after Christmas. So they started to roll out mid-January, right after Martin Luther King Day. They started with the special needs kids.
Mm-hmm.
And as I understand, the special needs kids have been going the whole time, quite a few of them, because of depending on their circumstances. They could not
they didn't have the resources at home to be able to manage their needs. Right.
Exactly. And so I heard they have been going pretty much the whole time. Yeah. But whoever else was left, they started right after that Tuesday after Martin Luther King Day. And then Dana's first group, my daughter, was the first week in February.
So let me...
And now the rest of the kids, and now the high school started March 1st.
Mm-hmm. So let me ask you another question. Did I know, because I saw you posted that you got your vaccine shot, and now they are. My understanding is they're running trials on children 16 and under, and in fact, I heard something today that they're even going like 6 years old now or younger than that. They're testing. Once those trials are done, are you going to feel comfortable as a parent having your children receive the vaccine if they have it available?
I am. I'm very much pro-vaccine.
Mm-hmm.
My children, I stuck to the schedule for immunizations with the recommendation of their pediatrician. And so both my children, even I know that HPV was highly contested vaccine. And teenagers.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, my children are caught up to date, and they will be taking it as well.
Okay, cool. All right. Well, we got all of that update.
In Camden County, the teachers started yesterday getting their COVID vaccines. They were all lined up at the BB&T Center. Cool. And they had thousands of people, and it was for your appointment. It was an hour and 15 minutes to get your shot.
Mm-hmm.
So
that's great. Why is it so long? Like it's so quick.
Well,
I don't have patience for lines. So when I did it, I don't know how I got in, to be honest with you, but I did it, and I registered in Essex County, which is where I live. I registered myself, my husband, and my mother-in-law. They're both educators. And so when you fill out the form for Essex County, they ask you what your profession is. So for them, I filled out educator. I knew they would get called before me. However, my girlfriend calls me about Hudson County because apparently you can also register where you work. And so I registered, and the thing about Hudson County is you have to keep checking. Unlike Essex County, where you have to wait for an email. Hudson County, you just got to keep checking and checking and checking. So I checked repeatedly. And guess what happened? I got a time.
Yeah.
I went. And then when I went to, they had a really cool system in Kearney, New Jersey. They have a drive-through. You sit in your car. And I waited maybe 10 minutes, maybe. And it looked like a lot of people, but they were vaccinated. They had a system.
Yeah.
And they vaccinating about maybe 5 or 6 cars at a time. So just like little, you drive through, the door would close. It looked extremely sterile. A nurse would come over. Someone would come over and kind of read you kind of the instructions.
Mm-hmm.
Then a doctor would come over and administer you the shot. You would literally drive not even a couple feet outside to a parking lot where someone else came over and said, you have to stay here for 15 minutes because they want to make sure you have no side effects. In 15 minutes, they came back, they checked on me, and then they said, okay, you're free to go. And the same thing happened when I went back the second time.
Yeah.
Highly, highly coordinated, very little wait, extremely professional. I felt extremely safe. And I didn't have to worry about standing outside in the cold. My appointment time, I showed up maybe 5 minutes before set time, and I was in and out.
One of the scary things for me, one of the scary things for me about all of this, Deidre, is that, though it is nice for every state and every municipality to have autonomy in certain areas, right? This shows our vulnerability with that structure, right? Because you can't quickly move something down the chain of command and have universal efficacy. It just doesn't, it won't work, right? So that worked really well for you. I know some other people who went to other sites and they worked really well. And then there's some where people still haven't gotten callback. So where I went and got my shot, and it was just serendipitous. In a way, I had a mishap at the bakery, and I had 2 nails go through my finger. And so Diane, along with some other people, said, you better go get a tetanus shot. So, being the male I am, I wasn't going to go to the doctor. I was just going to wrap a Band-Aid on it and keep it moving. And bleed all over the place. But I did call my doctor, and I went to get a tetanus shot. While I was there, I had an aha moment, and I said to my doctor, hey, I'm on all these lists to get vaccinated, and I've got these underlying conditions. So she looked at me, she goes, you haven't been vaccinated? I said, no. I said, can I get vaccinated here? She said, I can set an appointment for you. So then I said, hey, and then once you at the doctor, and so wait a minute, and so you know how we are, right? Now I thought I had the hookup, so I'm like, okay, so what about Amina? Could she get vaccinated too, right? So the doctor's like, yeah, I could set her date up too. And I said, okay, well, what about my mother? So I'm going down the chain. So I got my mother, I got Amina, and I got me set up, right? Then I said, well, can anybody else? She said, yeah, they just have to call. And we'll set a date for them. So now I gave that number to about 7 people. All 7 people have told me they haven't gotten a return phone call. Now, when did you understand what I'm saying to you?
Well, see, Eric, that's the thing. The difference is you had the hookup, and other people did not have the hookup.
No.
They just went on their list.
No, it's not about, right, but it's, no. It's a lack of efficiency, because it shouldn't be a hookup, right? It's just, I'm telling you, Diane, listen.
You personally went to your person.
No, Diane, that's not what it was. You're missing the point. Diane, but let me finish. No.
Man, he ain't gonna listen to you.
Please don't do that, Vincent. Right? So what I'm saying is, I thought I had the hookup. It really wasn't the hookup. It was their protocol, right? And what I'm saying to you is this: when she said, "Oh, anybody can do this," that's what she said to me. So I was joking. So I want to be clear. And that's why I said don't do that, Vincent. I want to be clear. It wasn't a hookup. I just said that jokingly to add some levity. It was their protocol, because I asked her, I said, can anybody do this? She said, yes, they just have to be a member of the community and call this number. She gave me a piece of paper and highlighted it. I took that number, I contacted 7 people who were trying to get a shot, and I said, call this number. All 7 of them said that they haven't gotten a return phone call back. Now, I'm saying that there's a breakdown there. Now, what I will say to you, Diane, is this. If I called as a patient and I got my doctor, she might facilitate getting it done, but that shouldn't have to happen. If there is a number that people in the community are supposed to call, which is on a piece of paper that they have with their office logo on it, that is their protocol. And so there's a breakdown somewhere. And all I'm trying to say is that breakdown is not just there, it's other places. And I started off simply by saying that because every place operates independently, right? We're going to get these varied levels of professionalism and efficacy. And it's a problem because if this thing was more serious, right? People would just be, pardon my French, ass out. And that's scary to me.
Well, Eric, when you presented it and saying that you got the hookup.
No, but you didn't hear what I said. I said.
The larger issue to your point, Eric, is this. I just had this conversation with someone that I respect and care for dearly.
Mm-hmm.
But she feels like she's skipping the line if she gets, quote unquote, the hookup.
Right. Yeah.
And I said, sis, you got pre-existing conditions. You qualify. No. I'll wait my turn.
There is no turn. The turn is somebody.
I told her. I said, the people are skipping the line. They're getting the hookup. They're calling in political favors. People are skipping the line various ways.
I'll give you a perfect example. I got a phone call from somebody that asked me if my aunt needed to get her vaccination because she's in that age group. I gave them the number. My cousin said, no, my aunt is good. Her mother's good. She already has an appointment somewhere in Newark. Cool. The person called me back and said, oh, well, do you and your husband need it? Do you plan on getting it? I said, yeah. She said, okay, I'll have the person call you for an appointment. That was a conversation on Tuesday. The person called me back on Wednesday. I had an appointment 2 weeks later.
Yeah.
Exactly.
And I sent other people to this location. Now, the person who called me said they have the vaccine, plenty of them. But people that they started with, all of their patients that they contacted several times to come in, won't come in to get it. So she has now opened it up to other people because she wanted to first service her community at that facility first. But when they didn't take it, she said she can't let this stuff spoil.
Right. But here's a question I want to ask you, Diane. But God bless her for doing that, right? For having the forethought to do that. But there is no protocol, right?
Nope.
That's what I'm saying. So that's what I'm getting at.
Well, there's no protocol because now you're talking about the federal government who has sped up FDA regulations so that they could approve stuff, and then they send it down to the states, and then the states who have their individual laws, governors who decide where it goes to. Then it goes down to the county.
Exactly.
The executives decide where it gets to. You got all these other facilities that have to apply past them to the federal government to get approved to even get it before it comes to the state, before it comes to the local government. So, no, there is no protocol.
Right.
There's no protocol in anything.
Right. That's my point.
And there are hookups and people you know, and that's why it's about who you know, not what you know.
And there are no standards.
Back to my friend's example, I think she's feeling some kind of way that she would feel like she would skip the line. And she feels like, there's so many more people that need it more than
But you know what? There is no line. Like Diane said, there is no line.
But you know what? I tried twice. I tried about a month ago when I knew someone could help her because she had a pre-existing condition. She's a black woman. She's up a certain age. She declined it a month ago. So I washed my hands of it, except this time I saw it happen in real life.
Right.
Where someone I know helped someone get an appointment. Their appointment, I connected them last night. Her appointment is Saturday.
But you know what? But here's one of the things I think that everybody is irresponsible at doing. And then I want to move on to the things you called to talk about, Deidre. I think that the federal government, the state government, the county, and the municipalities are all being reckless in not just saying at this point, hey, listen, any and every way you can get a vaccine, go and do it. Because we have a total breakdown of communication, guys. There is no line. I want you all to be clear. If you can get a hookup, get a hookup. If you can...
For me, Eric, like I told you, I wound up getting Hudson County because I didn't know I could register. But I had already registered for Essex. Guess who also called me? Essex County.
Yes.
Like,
Yes.
So I said, I'm a woman with no health conditions. You know, whatever. I'm 50 years old. I got 2 appointments. You tell me people can't even get one?
Yeah, my 98-year-old grandmother. My 98-year-old grandmother is having a problem.
It's a complete mess. It's a complete mess.
And they should just say it.
And then this same friend told me that she heard that California is opening up for 16-year-olds. I said to her, sis, that means even more people are going to be in the queue.
Exactly.
How is that sounding better?
Exactly. Exactly. But with this rush to look like they're doing something, right, and to get things done, to ultimately just have numbers, they're creating chaos. So I think that, like, just have an honest conversation, you know, but I mean, that's it's almost an oxymoron when you talk about politicians, right?
Like people feel guilty, and this brings up a larger conversation. Remember when COVID happened and people were like, where are you? And you were like, dude, that was a picture from 5 years ago. That was a memory. Like, you have to validate everything.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
Yeah.
Well, I don't
you go
think...
somewhere, you travel, they're like, did you wear your mask? Did you social distance? I'm like, I'm a grown woman. You know what I mean? Yes, I'm going to do that stuff, but I don't need to answer to you.
Right.
I'm a grown woman.
So what's going on? What's going on, Deidre? What's happening in the unemployment or employment world?
So I have jobs, Eric.
Uh-oh. You know what? I gotta say this. I posted, which is scary to me, right? I could post some nonsensical things on my page and get literally. You guys have seen it. I posted a picture of a rat in Irvington that was caught, and and that picture got over 53,000 shares on my page. But I posted 53,000. It may be higher now. I haven't seen that post in maybe 10 months now. It may be over 100,000 shares now, and God knows how many comments and likes and everything. It went viral, right? I've got other things that I posted that are nonsensical, right? That I posted, and all of a sudden I look and I'm like, oh my God, I can't believe. But then something as substantial as jobs, you post that, and you hear crickets. And I'm scratching my head. I'm like,
let me tell you something, Aaron, because you know this business is a franchise, right?
Mm-hmm.
And we have our owners meeting during COVID. This is one of the wonderful things that has come out of COVID is that we meet over, we use Microsoft Teams once a week. As a matter of fact, I'm missing it now, Eric, because I'm talking to you. But anyway, we meet on Tuesdays from 9:30 to about 10:30. And it's owners from various places, most in Jersey, but some in Connecticut and some in other places. One of the things that resonated with me, and my peer mentor is in Oregon. She has 80 openings, Eric. 80.
wow.
The other offices in Connecticut, a lot of openings. We have a lot of openings. I'll share with you at the end of the show. But one of the things that we got nervous about, they said to us last week, we opened this email chain. They said, hey, guys, did all of a sudden your phone stopped ringing and no one responded to your messages after Wednesday? Guess what happened on Wednesday?
Wow.
Stimulus bill dropped.
Wow.
And I get $1,400. And now I ain't got to work. I'm good.
Yeah.
I got $1,400 in the bank. Woohoo!
Well, you know, I'll tell you, but this is serious, and you know, take your red and your blue jersey off, folks. Before I say what I'm gonna say, right?
Here we go.
We had the same problem
Take your
Eric.
right, but take your red and blue jersey off. The concern that people had about this was that it would de-incentivize people to work. That it would do that. And now, to listen to you talk about what your peers are talking about now, we see just from this, and we can say it's anecdotal, right? But we can see from these preliminary, reports from you that yeah, people were disincentivized. And now for how long, I don't know. But it's a problem, right? If people are getting more, or believe that they're getting more than they would get if they were working, and so why work, right? Whether an extension through unemployment, and you talked about that before, Deidre, about using unemployment, how to responsibly look at unemployment. But if people are looking at it and saying, well, hell, if I go to work, I'm not going to make this much money. Or I'm not going to get this much money because they're not making any money, right? They're getting it. Long term, it's a problem.
Yes, and I think that it's a big problem because it happened when the Republicans and the Democrats last year rolled out the stimulus, and we were smack in the middle of craziness. But I don't think everyone thought through the ramifications of folks sitting home. I mean, there were folks making more money on unemployment than they ever made in their regular job. That should not happen because of that $600 a week. So they were collecting $600 a week and unemployment. Why am I going to go to work? I'm not incentivized. I'm going to sit my butt home and let this wait this stuff out. And some have legitimate reasons, right? We have our children were home. They were online learning, especially if you had small children. Someone's got to navigate the system for them. And so I get it. However, now we are a year in. I've got 30 jobs open. The other offices in Jersey, they equally have about 30 jobs open each. And we're not talking high-level jobs. I do have those, but I have some regular forklift driver jobs, general warehouse jobs, administrative assistant jobs that I'll share with you. In the same way with my counterparts in New Jersey and Connecticut and New York, and we're all having the same problem again because the stimulus bill just passed on Wednesday, and now everyone's got $1,400 in their bank account this weekend, and they don't want to answer our phone call.
That's unfortunate.
And so, I mean, you know what? I can't focus on them, to be honest with you.
Yeah.
Because what's going to happen is when that little bit of money runs out, because it will run out, they'll be crying the blues and calling us. But I've seen this show before with the recession. And when they call me back, they better hope I have jobs, because I might not.
Yeah.
The economy might have that turn, and I don't have 25 jobs. Maybe I only have 5 jobs, and you don't fit none of the 5. I don't know. But the gamble that they're taking, because that's what I'm going to call it, it's a gamble, is with their livelihood.
Yeah.
With their children's livelihood of not taking our calls and taking whatever you can get, like the vaccine, get whatever you can get.
And they're not giving up the $1,400. And the thing is, you're not giving up the $1,400 to make the phone call, right? To go on a job interview. Nobody's gonna be at the job interview saying, "Okay, you got to give back the $1,400."
No, it's a combination of extension of unemployment as well, because that also got extended.
Yeah, but
so it's both.
Yeah.
And if you're sitting there, relaxing on unemployment, I keep telling people it's a savings account. But we call them for jobs, and I'm in a precarious situation, right? Because we're a staffing agency. If that was a company, maybe a bit different. However, I just went to a job fair in early December, twice with FedEx and UPS, who had the same problem.
Wow.
Same problem. Oh, I'm sorry, Amazon. It was FedEx and Amazon. Same problem. And I said, okay.
So, Deidre, I have a question for you. When a person comes to you for a staffing position and say they're just taking something that's not the income that they're looking for, but it's helping them get by, is it possible for them to be self-promoted into another company with you or to be placed somewhere else, making more money if an opportunity comes available?
Oh.
Do they get first rights to that? Is that possible?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, we will never pull them from an assignment. But let's say said assignment ends, and this happens all the time. We have a 2-week assignment. We call people. They do a great job for us. They show up on time, no drama. When another job comes up, guess what we think of immediately? Because we know they will show up. They did it before, and sometimes it's making more money. So absolutely, those are the first ones my staff wants to find because they've already shown some sort of longevity. We have a relationship. A lot of times because my office is open, they have to come here physically to pick up their chats. We have to wear masks and everything, but they come here and we chat for a few seconds. And so those are the ones that we love to help. And honestly, I told you guys, I think last time about the Peloton effect. I can't remember. I told you guys about my Peloton effect. But now we're rolling out my Peloton effect referral bonus. So my plan is to have them as ambassadors. And so they're going to tell friends once I give them $25. Oh, you know what, Diane, you weren't on. I'm going to share my Peloton effect real quick, and then I'm going to give my tips. So my Peloton effect, I got a Peloton, and when I got a Peloton, I called my friend who's been on this Peloton for 5 years, and I said, Cindy, please give me your code because you're the main reason I'm getting this daggone bike, and I know you get $100 and I get $100 off. And so she shared the code with me, and I had an aha moment. So now I am an ambassador. Guess what came in the mail yesterday, Eric?
Yeah, $100.
My $100 email came last week. I went onto their website because you have to buy it at the Peloton store.
Okay.
I bought a Black Lives Matter, Black History Month. They call it on the website. The Black History Month outfit, top and bottom. I'm looking cute. And guess what? I paid.
There you go.
So now I'm an advocate. I'm already an ambassador because my girlfriend bought it. She texted me yesterday because hers came in the mail.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it got delivered, and she did the Megan Thee Stallion ride, and I was like, oh, this one's like the best new artist. And so I told her, I said, you got to do the Bad Boy ride, you got to do the Beyonce ride. Like, I'm giving her all these tips, and I said, hey, guess what, girl? My outfit showed up from that $100 that I got because you also got $100. So my Peloton effect, back to how I tie this into jobs, is that I used to pay $50, which I upped it from 20. I went from 20 to 25 to 50. What I was finding was that I wasn't really getting more people at 50. It was like the same thing, handful of people. And I said, you know what, let me try this Peloton effect. So when our owners called last week, I told them, and they were like, all of their faces was like, what? Great idea. So when you refer me someone and they work 80 hours, you get $25. When that person finishes their 80 hours, they too get $25. And so guess what? That makes that person that I place. They are now my ambassador.
Right.
The same way I'm an ambassador for Peloton, they're an ambassador for Express because they want to get another $25. And they want to give that friend $25. So the ripple effect, we're going to give it a try. It's worth a try.
Mm-hmm.
Give it a try and see how it works. So stay tuned on how this is going to happen. But I stole it all from Peloton. I can't even take credit for it. So I'm calling it the Express effect.
There you go.
I like it. Go, Deidre. Go, Deidre. I like it.
Beautiful.
So what positions do you have available?
I'm going to talk about 5 biggest mistakes that makes a candidate not look in their best light. We talked a lot about resumes, and some of these tips might be very familiar to you or not. And I know Diane has the business of doing the resumes. Her daughter does. So I definitely, Diane, I'll let you speak on that in a little bit. Connect with her if you feel like you don't have it together to do it yourself. But tip number 1 is no LinkedIn profile. If you haven't taken the time to build a LinkedIn profile, you're missing a wonderful opportunity. Your LinkedIn profile can essentially almost be your resume.
Mm.
You can put it up. You can put a cute picture of yourself, professional, selfie, whatever. Just make it look cute, professional. And you can join groups so people will see your resume or your profile. You can talk about all the things that you've done as your past employment. We talked about how your resume needs to be the one page. Guess what? Your LinkedIn profile can be as robust as you want it to be, which is great. And so I know there are people that actually help build LinkedIn profiles. I know LinkedIn has a bunch of classes on YouTube that you can learn how to do it. You can honestly, look at other profiles, steal stuff that you like from mine. You like the way I formatted it because I took a LinkedIn class. I also I read other people's LinkedIn profile, and that's how I crafted my LinkedIn profile. So connect with me, Deidre Viney, on LinkedIn. But I think it's a missed opportunity if you don't have one. And also connect with people. We are social beings. Yeah. So if you do have a LinkedIn profile, don't just create it and forget about it. Go engage. Go and comment on people's articles. Post yourself about an article that you might have read that you think resonates. Just keep it professional. No politics. Anything that is considered political or controversial. Leave those off. That's for Facebook and your friends or family at the dinner table. So on LinkedIn, keep it as professional as you can with a professional picture of yourself. They even do, there's people out there, Eric, that actually take your headshot for LinkedIn, specifically for LinkedIn. They give you the right to do that to make you look your best, right? You get a makeup artist if you're a woman. You get your hair cut if you're a guy. And they take a picture of you, and they give you a couple samples, and those are ones you can use on your LinkedIn profile because, as they say, a picture's worth 1,000 words. People want to see you. You want to be likable. Do you look likable in your picture? Go to my picture. I'm not saying it's the best, but I did have a professional photographer we happened to do family photos anyway. When my daughter was very little, she wasn't feeling Sears at all. My son, we would go every quarter to get his pictures as he was growing. My daughter, she wasn't feeling it. So I wound up getting someone to come to my house every year and do Christmas photos. And so when he was done doing our photos, he actually asked us if we wanted headshots, my husband and I. And I was like, that's a great idea. I do want a headshot. And both of us use our headshot for our LinkedIn profile.
Wow.
So I definitely recommend that but you don't have to be high tech. I mean, nowadays, these cameras are phenomenal. They say, get someone to take a picture of you.
Yeah.
Put a nice little outfit on, put a little bit of makeup on. They even have filters. There's filters. I looked at one of my friends yesterday. I was like, good and well, her skin is not that clear.
But we got to be specific about the filters too, right? There's some filters you don't want to use, right?
Well, the ones for the women in particular, Eric, you probably don't know because you're not a woman. These filters will literally add makeup on you.
Really?
They will add lipstick of any color. They will add eyeshadow, blush. They even will contour your face if you wanted to. Like these filters.
And eyeliner.
Aren't crazy.
Wow.
Just don't get the cat filter.
Yeah.
Now you're talking about the one from
Instagram.
It's Snapchat.
Yeah.
You're talking about Snapchat one. My daughter and I do those all the time. We have a good time with them. Did you guys see my Snapchat thing yesterday? My TikTok.
I did.
That was a good one last year. So that's my tip number one. Is just you need to have it and then spend some time engaging with folks so that they can see you. Let's say you saw a position open, and a lot of recruiters like myself use LinkedIn to post jobs. Let's say you saw a position open on LinkedIn for ABC company, and let's say you found out that the recruiter at ABC company posts on LinkedIn pretty regularly. You connect with her. You might then see that she posts an article about job hunting and what you can do. And then right below that, you could probably comment and say, great article, thanks for sharing. Something very simple, and then you could reshare it. And now if she's an engaged LinkedIn user, she might go and connect the dots and say, oh, Eric Dawson, resume, Eric Dawson, LinkedIn, Eric Dawson looking for a job. Let me call Eric Dawson because I see his application, his resume and LinkedIn profile looks like someone I would like to hire. You just never know. It's such a wonderful opportunity, and I can't stress enough the importance of LinkedIn.
I agree.
And then my tip number 2, I only have 5 today, but my tip number 2 is to make sure that you have hard skills as well as soft skills. So the distinction is pretty severe. So a hard skill is saying, I know how to operate Photoshop. I know how to edit video. A soft skill may be something that I am a quick learner. I am highly organized. You want to have both of those listed on your resume equally almost, because you don't want to overshadow some of the key things that they're looking for in their job search. So those are really, really good things that you want to have. Sometimes I'll see resumes when they have a ton of soft skills and maybe Microsoft Excel. Well, that's just great, but my job calls for PowerPoint, Excel, Photoshop, Adobe, whatever. So if you do have those, please make sure you're highlighting those as well as their soft skills, because everyone's a quick learner. Everyone's hardworking. Everyone's organized. Everyone's that. And so you need to be above the grade hard skill can really, really, set you apart from your competition.
Sure.
An unrelated resume title. So what I mean by that is, if you're applying for a job that says senior brand manager, your resume should be titled brand marketing manager.
Right.
You shouldn't have it on where it doesn't align itself. Sometimes folks get lazy and they're applying for all these jobs and they don't want to change anything. And I think that's a mistake. You have to tailor your resume to the job. Mm-hmm. And it might be a very small tweak. But like I said earlier, in prior times, Eric, looking for a job is a job.
Yeah.
So you want to make sure that you're aligning your titles of your resume to what the hiring manager is looking for. Make it easy for them. You should have to read all the stuff. Come to find out, that's what they do.
So I gotta. So when I sent you my resume, right? I think I sent you two. I sent you like an expanded resume and then a truncated one, right? So the truncated resume. So to your point, Deidre, I was looking for an opportunity to add some more design work to my portfolio, right? In another area, because I was thinking that I wanted to, do something. And so I saw an opportunity and I did exactly what you said. I took that huge resume, right, that talks about me being a senior VP and all this stuff, and I shot that resume over to them. They were overwhelmed. They called me and they said, "Whoa, wait a minute. So, we're looking for like a package designer, right? And we see, right? And we see all of this stuff. And to your point, right? If they took the time." So I was arrogant enough to think that if they want, they'll take the time to read in between the lines and figure out that, based on my years of experience and yada, 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 that I can do this thing. They don't want to take that time. They want me to make it simple stupid for them, right? So I had to truncate the resume down. To your point, I changed the title on it, and then I put bullet points very specific to what it was they wanted, and then I attached a PDF that has samples of package work that I did. Right?
Exactly. So, and it's not to say that we just don't want to do it. We're busy, Eric. We're busy.
Yeah.
And we're looking at hundreds, if not thousands of resumes. And even if you're using an applicant tracking system, but I know I've talked about that ad nauseum, at the end of the day, a human is still going to see it.
Yeah.
An applicant tracking system's job is to weed it out, but a human is going to see the weeded part, right? If it had 10,000 resumes, it went down to 5,000, 5,000, 2,000, 2,000 to 100, and you're in that 100. Make it easy for them. And then the same thing with applicant tracking system. All of these things are applicable for that. If you have some crazy title that doesn't apply to them, and they're going to put those words in the applicant tracking system that says, only find me people with this in their title, guess what? You're not even going to make it. You're not even going to be seen by anybody. The computer will X and delete Eric's resume out of their bin. And so don't let that be you. Take the time and do your due diligence and make sure that your title, and here's the crazy thing about titles. Some companies have very common titles. Some companies do not. So if you know for a fact that you are a receptionist, for example, I think I've used it as an example before, and the company gets all sexy with their title and calls you the first order of impressions, or the first impression, something, right? Not receptionist. They call you something that no one else is really using. Don't change it to receptionist, even if you know your job calls you something else.
Right.
Because you need the common title that an applicant tracking system is going to understand. They're not going to understand that you're the first order of impressions, first whatever it's called, of impressions. They're going to look for receptionist. So change the title for that resume. You can call yourself whatever you want on your business card. But as it comes to finding a job, it has to be some commonality. And you'll know what that is. Like if you take your title of your position and you put it in a Google search, if you don't see a bunch of jobs with that same title, well, your position title may be very, very specific to your company. I give you a classic example. Working for Express, when I'm looking for someone for myself, an internal role, we call our recruiters staffing consultants. And you would think, well, that sounds kind of normal, right? Staffing consultant. No, it's not. You know why? Because what was happening was when I used the word staffing consultant, when I put an ad outside into the universe, I kept getting all these people that worked at nursing homes. And they were staffing consultants. They were helping to find nurses and RNs and LPNs and medical assistants, and that's not what we place at Express. So although it's somewhat transferable, and I wound up interviewing quite a few of them, I had to change the title to recruiter. Wow. Because recruiter was more generic, even though I still call my internal team staffing consultants. Recruiter was synonymous with a lot more people. Right. And so therefore, when I got resumes in, that was in there, even if it was, it aligned with what my company did better than the word staffing consultant, because we don't place RNs and LPNs, and they have just a different requirement for finding a warehouse worker. And so that's one example on the recruiter side, on the agency side, the company side. We too have to watch our titles when we put it out to the universe to make sure that we're putting something in alignment with what the rest of most companies are saying, so that we don't get individuals that don't fit, and now we're wasting time and energy trying to find somebody. Yeah. My number 4 tip is a flashy, over-the-top design. So you creators out there like you, Eric.
Do you have an example?
Have a flashy, over-the-top resume. And what I mean by that is I've seen pictures on resumes. I've seen really beautiful script. Keep it simple. Times New Roman, Calibra. Don't go fancy with your fonts. You can bold and underline. Those are acceptable, but we don't put pictures on resumes. That's very much a European thing. Mm-hmm. I found out. We don't put birthday on our resumes, right? That's a whole nother conversation. But you want to be very cautious of that, because one, you're going to be discriminated against if you put a picture. Let's just keep it 100. I mean, yes, you're going to have your LinkedIn profile, but your LinkedIn profile is going to have a professional picture of you. If people are going to discriminate against you, they're going to discriminate against you. That's nothing about that. But try to have less things. Also, keeping back to that applicant tracking system. If it's as simple as possible, then the applicant tracking system won't be all concerned about what all these crazy fonts are and all these larger things and smaller things, and it might kick you out because of that. All right. So just try to keep it consistent. Look at a bunch of resumes and examples you may see online. Some folks do a really good job of doing their resume.
Let me ask you a question, Deidre, regarding this tracking system. So for people who build websites, right, and they understand search engine optimization, or they're building something to make sure that Google finds them and ranks them higher. So there are places that they can go to learn what to and what not to do. Is there some sort of, to the best of your knowledge, some place that somebody can filter their resume through? So once they complete their resume, to see how well it's going to perform in the in the most recognized tracking system, that they could put it through there and it says, and can even offer suggested changes to them to make sure that their resume is as optimal as possible.
Now, I think you're onto something, Eric. So you might want to just pause, write
That's
that down.
Right?
Because here's the problem. That's a great idea, but here's the problem. Every scenario is different. So if I'm a big company, I'm looking for a recruiter today, I'm looking for an admin tomorrow. Your resume may stay in there, but it might be in this other filtered area. So I don't think a company will ever just deletes it. You just don't fit this particular role. And so it'll keep it there probably indefinitely, right? Until they might look you up 5 years later and say, hey, Eric, I know your resume sat on our server for 5 years and we didn't call you. However, guess what? we're interested in you, right? And so I don't have an answer for that. I think that's a great idea. You might be on. That's what I'm saying. Talk to a developer and see, because that might at least get the conversation going. Or maybe people know that it exists already, but I don't know. I don't know that answer.
Okay.
To that, but it's a good one. And my last and final one, Eric, you're gonna love this one.
Uh-oh.
Formatting and poor grammar.
Gee. Yeah.
So when you have a resume, please try to stop using things like I, my, me. Instead of saying I spearheaded this marketing campaign, just say spearheaded marketing campaign. I like to do things, or I tell people when I coach them, to put it in past tense. Everything, because we're talking about consistency.
Right.
Right? Just keep it in past tense, and it doesn't have to be I, my, we. No. Numbers makes it hard to skim through resumes. So you want to just be on it when you spell out numbers. Very challenging. Very challenging. If you grew the company from 5% to 20%, that's an easy number. 20% sign, not 20% written out.
Right.
If I grew them from 1 million to 5 million, 1 mm to 5 mm, not millions written out. It's just too much. Bullet points are awesome. So that helps you. I think you mentioned earlier that you like bullet points. I do too.
Yeah.
So,
But you know what? Can I say this? Bullet points means bullet points. It doesn't mean put a bullet in front of 4 paragraphs. That's not a bullet point.
And also, you want to start it with a strong verb, like assisted, analyze. There's so many great verbs that you can do some research, because that should be bullet, strong verb.
Yeah.
And then, to your point, don't make it a paragraph. It should be a short bullet point. Using the wrong tense. That's a common mistake too that people use. When I said, past tense and present tense, if you keep it all consistent, then you won't have to worry about going back and forth, fixing your resume. Even if you're currently working, you can use past tense for every job.
Yeah.
And then obviously the obvious is spell check. Spell check. Spell check.
Yeah.
Nothing looks more sloppy than someone that's misspelled a word on their resume that is going to represent them. That's when you get another set of eyes to look at it, because sometimes it's a forest in the trees.
Yeah.
You're too close to it. You look at it too much. You don't want to look at it anymore. Well, get someone else to look at it that you think will have a critical eye, and then get someone else to look at it after that person looked at it. Because something could be so obvious that it gets overlooked even by the person that double-checked it for you.
Right.
So just take your time with this, particularly with the spelling. I mean, I hate it now because I have 2 children, and they took spelling out of the curriculum in our district. And I'm not happy about it, because these kids are now relying on technology to spell for them. And unfortunately, if you ever spelled a word, I do this all the time. I won't say I'm the best speller, but I'm a decent speller. You ever spell a word and even the spell check doesn't know what you're trying to say?
Right. Right. Or what'll happen is you'll spell the word there, THEIR, right? Or IER, whichever one it is, right? And then
THEIR meaning possession.
Right. And then
THERE meaning location.
Correct. And so spell check will say you spelled it correctly, but you have the wrong word there, right? So grammatically you're incorrect. 2 TOO TOTWO, right? All of those. So spell check.
Honestly, a bunch of those ones are my pet peeves.
Yeah.
Because that means you're not taking the time, right?
Yeah.
If you're going to go work for a company, not only do they want someone organized, they want someone who's going to pay attention to the detail.
Yep.
And that's the detail. Is your resume is paying attention to the detail. And so you got to take the time and understand that. And like I said, you don't have to be perfect at it, but get someone else to look at it. And get somebody else to look at it. And then get somebody else to look at it.
Yeah. Until
you feel comfortable enough to put it out to the universe once a couple set of eyes have given you some honest feedback. Because they might overlook something as easy as they're there, right?
Yep.
So you got to be careful of that.
Well, I think the goal would not to be perfect, but to strive for excellence.
I agree. So that's all I have for today. I do want to talk about my job.
Yes,
And
yes.
obviously, I want to plug my event now that it's finally like the live feed is on. You can buy tickets for my event to benefit Women Rising. So the current jobs I have open right now, and like I said, I have a lot. So I'm going to highlight some of them are common themes. I'm looking for. That just came up. I'm looking for a pick and pack person. Oh, that's tomorrow. Tomorrow 17th. Yep, that must have just came in as we were talking. To work in Newark. It's a great position, light work. You do have to be able to work the weekend. So I'm looking for a maintenance mechanic. That one is also in Newark. I'm looking for a general warehouse worker, a 5 a.m. start. So you're the early riser like I am, but then you're off by 2. I'm not off by 2. You can work in this position to role. It's in Jersey City. I'm looking for a project coordinator. This just came in too. Oh yeah, yesterday. Project coordinator position is open. We have we have this labor one. I think I told you guys about it at nauseam. I have 10 openings for this role.
Oh, I have a project coordinator candidate for you.
Oh, please do. That came in yesterday. I haven't even really looked at these yet, so just now. We have a data entry office clerk with freight forwarding experience. If you have ocean export freight forwarding experience, please call me. You do need to have a car for that role. It's in Bayonne, and there's no public transportation to get you there. I'm looking for a receptionist. You need to be bilingual in Spanish because you're dealing with a lot of drivers who do not speak any English. I'm looking for a data entry part-time person. I'm looking for a cleaning person. I'm looking for a virtual, this is new too, virtual administrative assistant. This is for a company in New York City. But New York City, a lot of these New York City places are not open yet.
Right.
So if you're willing to try someone virtual, you got to live in this area though. Mm-hmm. You work virtually until everything opens back up. I'm looking for a first and second shift warehouse worker in Newark. A lot of these are Newark. So the theme is Newark. Oh, the supervisor's back up. I'm looking for a supervisor role in Kearney. Yep, supervisor role. This pays $20 an hour too. It's not bad. You have to have at least 1 year experience supervising at least 6 people. I'm looking for an AR clerk. And then I'm looking for a bookkeeper.
Accounts receivable
clerk. Yeah, those are the ones that actually collect the money, right? You don't pay it, you got to collect it. So sometimes a little bit of collections experience is what's needed. Mm-hmm. And then I'm looking for a bookkeeper. And then selfishly, I'm still looking for somebody for me. I'm looking for a sales rep.
Join the Viney team.
Represent my firm that's going to go out in the Hudson, Essex County area that has a car, that's got a great personality, that's willing to work, hungry, humble, and smart. I want you to be hungry, that you can go out and get me some business. I want you to be humble, to learn, and I want you to be smart and able to take direction and think on your feet. It's paid salary plus commission. We pay up to $40,000 to $50,000 salary plus commission. You need to have a car. Please email me. I'll put all this information into the feed. And then last but certainly not least is I currently sit on the board of directors of a wonderful organization called Women Rising. They are the foremost organization in Hudson County supporting women, help them with domestic violence. They help them get homes, they help them get jobs, they help them get their life together and give a safe space for them and their children. I have the opportunity to now serve as their vice president of the board of directors.
Wow.
I am doing a comedy for a cause. Next month, it's on a Friday at 8 p.m. to 10 p.m. How it's going to work is you're going to buy your ticket. It's only $35 to support a good cause. Or maybe you have a company and you want to do some sponsorships. We have sponsorships as low as $250. As a matter of fact, my friend Margaret has already sponsored. She was the very first sponsorship. So shout out to Margaret Cunningham. I really appreciate you for taking up that first sponsorship level. I really appreciate it. So you can be a sponsor or you can just get a ticket. You're going to sit with your honey or you're going to sit by yourself. It's a family-friendly event, which means there could be no curse words, no sexual innuendos. You're going to have a good time laughing. And we're also partnering with restaurants in the Jersey City area as well as the Newark area so that you can really make it a night in. You can order your food at 6 o'clock when you come home from work. The food will be delivered. You can have your bottle of wine if you want or just your regular non-alcoholic beverage. And then you can have a night in with a full meal and comedy. My husband and I did this in December with Margaret Cunningham, as a matter of fact. She did it for the East Orange Public Schools. She was trying to raise money to get them Chromebooks. And we felt like we went out. We laughed. The guy could see, the comedians could see us because they're on Zoom. They were laughing about my Black Santa in the background. And it was a great time by all. So we are literally duplicating Margaret's efforts that she started in December. And she had the idea, so I can't even take credit for it. She had the idea about infusing the restaurants because she didn't really do that. And so Eric and I had talked offline about having Grandma Emma's because we spoke to Bentley's yesterday, and Bentley's is on board, and you sell Grandma Emma's at Bentley's. So if you want to get a taste of Eric's peach cobbler, order from Bentley's. Bentley sounds amazing, Eric, by the way. He said seafood, which is talking my language. Then he said soul food seafood.
Yeah.
Really talking my language.
Yo,
Honey, he
listen.
make this lobster. Oh,
What?
No, you know.
Deidre, it's so good. I got it and had to pull over on the side of the street.
Wow.
And start eating it. And I was licking my fingers. I'm telling you, it's good.
I may have to order that.
I'm really excited.
My go-to when I go there is I get the short rib empanadas.
Wow.
Oh, God, that's good, too.
Yeah. Oh, listen, I'm
That's
telling
like
you.
McDonald's French fries good. It never made you home.
Yo,
That's good. So devil eggs are good. It's got candy bacon on top of it. Oh, my God. I think I've eaten everything on the menu.
Yeah, I got to get him to do the beef bacon, though, because I can't,
Yeah, you can.
No, I can't.
Yeah, man.
It goes down the same way.
Get the pork in you.
Turkey bacon. That's an easy fix.
Ah, no, it ain't. Turkey bacon doesn't get crisp on the edge.
Yeah.
So I'm going to put all of this in the feed. I neglected to mention my 7 professional positions I have open. They made me take it off of my board because it was clouding all the other 20 jobs we had open. So I have my separate little spreadsheet that I have to run off of. Those are positions that I'm working on.
Okay.
And they include a business analyst, a regulatory compliance editor, real estate internal auditor, project manager. So those positions, and most of them are work from home. And so if you fit those requirements, everything's on our website, though. That I will say. Everything's on our website. You can go there and look. You can call and speak to a member of my team. We're very busy. If none of these fit you or you're not in our area, you can still go to our website, expresspros.com, and look at a location nearest you. If you're near Jersey City, just put a / Jersey City. We also have an Express Jobs app. And it's just that Express Jobs. And when you go there and you put in your information, where you live, what kind of job you're looking for, they actually send you jobs. And you get a chance to be a little bit more proactive, as well as you can search for, there are 16 offices in New Jersey. So let's say you live in Newark. Just because you register with Jersey City doesn't mean we have exclusive rights to you. Right. You can go to our office out in Mountainside. You go to our office in Parsippany. If they have a job that fits you, no hard feelings. So I encourage you to do that. We're conducting still virtual interviews because we're practicing the guidelines of CDC. And so eventually you will have to come to our office, but you have to make an appointment. You have to wear a mask, just to sign some paperwork. So it's been working out really well since last June. We are really doing it. We're super busy, and we would love to get that cousin off your couch, get your son out that basement, and get him a job.
And remember, Deidre's got the express effect going on, guys. 25, 20, 25, 25. Come on.
You know what, Eric? You don't have to be a current associate for that. I've written $25 checks, $50 checks, honestly, and popped it in the mail. They don't want to come to Jersey City. Or I've left it for them in the front desk. So you don't have to be a current associate. I do need to know your name, and I mean your government name.
You can't write a check to Peanut?
No.
But put it in my mama name because I ain't got my ID.
Yes. We can put it in your mama name.
All right.
Well, Deidre, as always, you're a wealth of information, and we're hoping that people do reach out to get these jobs. But also, if you are looking and you go to Deidre and you've seen this broadcast, please give us a shout out. We like to keep a track of our impact on the community.
Thank you so much,
Yep,
Deidre.
absolutely. So thank you guys. I'll be listening in, but I'm signing out. Over and out.
Love you. Bye.
Bye.
All right, guys. Thank Deidre's amazing. What it is that she does. Appreciate her so much. So, um, and I gotta tell you, it is disheartening though to week after week, have all of these jobs, have them posted. We post a link. I actually posted every job last time on my page. And I asked people, I said, just share it. Just share it. Like, doesn't cost you anything to share it. Somebody in the community may need a job. I know they do, right? Statistics show they do. And the response was abysmal.
But the thing that really gets me is that Diane and Deidre are such a great combination on her show when they talk. And, people still aren't taking advantage of this. What is going on, Eric?
Well, I'm telling you, the I I just don't. I don't know, man. I don't know if people want to work in this climate, right? They seem to have options. The options that they have are not real, right? And that's one of the things that Deirdre talks about. They're not real, meaning that they're false kind of things. Um, but they're taking those options. They're shorting right now. They're shorting on extended unemployment. They're shorting on a lot of different things, and it's scary. I listened to Deidre talk about how her son in this last year, how he's altered his discipline of getting up and going to school and all those other kinds of things, right, for the new norm that he had. Well, all of these people, they have a new norm too, right? They've gotten comfortable in a different routine. And what do they say about habits, right? You can form a habit very quickly, a bad habit, right? Very quickly. And to break that habit, excuse me, takes a lot. I gotta shave my beard, man. My beard is getting unwieldy. But
That's the habit.
yeah, right. That's my habit. But they have these bad habits now, right? And some of them are waking up late, right? Hanging out with their friends. They've now identified new shows during midday on cable that they like to watch. They're catching up on series that they couldn't catch up on before on Netflix or wherever, right? So they got all of these other things that are occupying their time. And so the job is an intrusion on that. Do you understand what I'm saying? Like they have finally jumped out of the rat race to some extent, right?
Yeah.
You know, like getting up, the alarm going off, getting in the shower, getting in the car or getting on the bus, going to work, being there when you don't want to be around people and you're grumpy or whatever the thing is, and then getting off and having to come on. They got all of that. And so they've traded that in. They've traded that in for a simpler existence now.
Yes, it's called My Life of Being Quarantined, and I'm going to stay quarantined. And since I don't, because of some moratoriums and legislation, I don't have to worry about rent or getting evicted. I can get additional $6,300 on my unemployment. And oh, by the way, I just got a $1,400 check. So no, I'm good. And that has to change.
I don't think that's what it is. I think a lot of people are stuck with kids. Well, not stuck with them. They had them. Stuck at home with virtual learning. And some kids, they just can't leave at home alone.
And that part's true.
Or the qualifications that they have aren't transferable over to work from home jobs.
That part's true, too. And those are people who have to. But then there are those people who don't. You're taking advantage of it. That's where we get into we get into the weeds with that. And as Eric says, that can be a habit that could be very difficult to change.
Yeah.
You
So
look at the last survey, you know what they said that people have stopped doing since COVID?
Taking a bath.
Yes. Brushing their teeth.
but I'm telling you, but think about this for a second. You see, we're laughing about it, but think about this for a second. As a child, right? Um, uh, you're taught routines, right? So when you become a toddler, you get up in the morning, you brush your teeth, you get ready for breakfast, and mommy's got to get ready for work or daddy's got to get ready for work. You're also watching your older siblings go off to school, right? And so you're learning that, and you cry because they leave, but they tell you they'll be back, and so you're being socialized that one day you're going to go to school too. And then when that time comes, right, you have to break from the habit of being at home and break from the habit of being in front of television, watching Sesame Street or doing whatever you were doing, playing with your blocks or your Legos or whatever. And now you have to go off to school, and you teach the child to love school, right? To want to go to school, right? So you go through that whole exercise. So there is a socializing, a conditioning. It didn't just happen that the child, and then even then, you had to go in the room and wake them up. It's time to get up. It's time to do it, and you set them into a routine, a bedtime routine, a wake up routine, a eat breakfast routine, a do your homework routine. They were all routines, and now all of that has gone to shit. It's all gone to shit. And so now everybody's just kind of a free for all right now. And in the middle of it, you're trying to create some order, but people are resistant to it. Even at work. I mean, think about it. At work, if people were left to their own devices, they wouldn't do what they're supposed to do at work, most of them, right? There are routines that are set in work. Your whole life is based on routines.
As soon as they lift this rent moratorium, it's going to shake them up. And trust me, they're going to be trying to get back to work.
Yeah, Deidre's phone will be ringing off the hook.
They're going to be getting evicted immediately. Because there are still landlords out there that are evicting people and putting them out.
So listen, I want to say this. I want to go back for a second because when I had Deidre on, I couldn't go in the thread. So Jody Pittman, she responded to what I was saying about calling the number to get the vaccine, right? And what she said was that some of the people, instead of waiting for the call, they stayed on the line to speak to an operator to get a schedule, right? So see, and that's what I'm saying. So you gotta do something different, right? So they'll give you the vaccine, but the professionalism or something, there's a breakdown. There's a communication breakdown, and you're gonna have to take the next step, folks. And so if calling and staying on the line and calling back and waiting and then harassing them, it's your life that you're trying to protect, right? Your livelihood.
What's important to them. That's all. They will do it. People always find a way when it's important to them. So that's it.
Yeah.
So what do you think about, Eric, the article you sent me, the young lady that boyfriend or ex-boyfriend.
Oh, God.
A family.
Yo, so I'm going to tell you guys, so the article I sent, and I posted on my page, I don't know what town it was in, but there was a young man, Malik is his name, who is accused, right, of having murdered 4 family members, including his child's mother.
Indianapolis.
In where?
Indianapolis.
In Indianapolis, because she received her stimulus check and he wanted it or wanted some of it. So he went to the house, according to reports by surviving family members. He went to the house and demanded that she forfeit some of the money, and she said no. And her brother, according again to surviving family members, intervened, right, and said no. She said she's not going to give you any money. At which point, Malik pulled out a gun and opened fire, right? And so
You just called teacher and got a job.
And so I think, well, I think that it's tragic, Diane. For somebody to do that, it says that they reached the end, right? They couldn't see a bridge to the other side, right? So whatever demons, whatever was tormenting him, whatever hopelessness he was experiencing in his life, right? Whatever dead end he thought he was at, right? That was a permanent solution to what many might say is a temporary problem, right? And so he took the permanent solution in terms of killing those people. Um, um, but and I'll say this too. And I'm not saying it as an excuse for him, but I think that anybody who kills somebody suffers mental illness. I think it takes a certain break in your brain to actually take a life, right? And I'm not saying that mental illness to the degree at which you can claim insanity and then not be found responsible for your actions. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying mental illness in that something broke, right? And so I always say we have to always be careful for what about what might be on the other side. So when her brother decided to stand up to intervene, right? I'm sure he never expected that he was going to be shot, right? And that the family was going to be shot. But we have to be more careful, especially in these times, when we confront people, to understand, to have a better sense of what we're confronting and what the outcome might be.
We have to also take into effect the existence of the COVID and its effect on the psyche. One is that every day you hear about the doom and gloom. COVID, 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 death, 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 COVID, COVID, COVID. The other thing is unemployment, no money. The trauma of food, insecurities that have been happening, and most important, the feeling of existential loneliness called isolation. And that has a horrible effect on people. There's a survey and study right now that is looking at the effects of COVID for specifically Black people who are hardest affected by it. And they're also now extended it to low-income white people and the effects upon it. It is really terrible. And it, but you look at in the news, massive gun violence, because people are just now gotten out of the habit of being social etiquette, social compassion, humanity. It is starting to slowly slip away, and we're starting to see a lot of the results of that.
Yeah, and Jody, I hear what you're saying. She says that some folks, Eric Dawson, are just violent and evil.
Absolutely.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
I do, but I'm not discounting that they're violent and evil, right? And I'm not excusing the behavior. I'm simply saying that you can take somebody who's violent and evil, right? And I think that guy was always violent and evil, right? And apparently because she was in an abusive relationship with him. Her surviving family member said that she was afraid to leave him, right? So violent and evil, got it. But then there was a catalyst that took it to a different level, right? And that's what I'm saying. So there was a snapping point, and there's always a snapping point, and not to excuse it, I'm simply saying that there's something wrong, right? There's something wrong. That's all.
Well, you're looking at, I guess a better way of explaining it is that a lot of people are experiencing being unfiltered, unrestrained, those societal norms. They are violent people, yet, some people, violence is being masked by their filters and restraint. When you're put into a situation where people now remove those filters, we deal with the results of it.
Yeah.
Yeah. And people have been showing signs of mental anguish, mental distress, depression throughout this entire pandemic. And now we're going into a year and a month?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I think I think it's tragic, that family has trauma that's gonna, be imprinted in their psyche and their souls for the rest of their lives. Um, hopefully they can get some help, right? I mean, to me, I'm always at that point, right? So that happened, but if left unchecked, right, somewhere down the road, right, we talk about these socially transmitted diseases. If they don't get help, right, whatever it is that they may be internalizing and trying to deal with on their own, right, is going to manifest somewhere. It's going to manifest somewhere, and so there needs to be intervention. And so for me, what do I always think about? I always think about primarily bottom people who may, and I don't know if this family does, but lack access, right, to mental health care, right? And so I think that is critical right now. Critical.
True, true. And, as Dr. Johnson said, in terms of dealing with the COVID and the experience and trying to move on, I think it's time that we go out and start checking on people, start making more phone calls like we did in the beginning. As we're looking at it and people think that we're coming to the end of this, and the end isn't here yet. We're just turning a corner. People still need that contact, and people still need to be checked on. So we should, a lot of us should go back to that, checking the mental health of people,
Who's Dr. Johnson?
Dr. Darrell Johnson was on the show Thursday, What You Gotta Say. He talked about the effects of COVID-19 on virtual learning for Black children and, why they are failing. One of the most... Excuse me?
What kind of doctor is he?
He has a doctorate in education. He also has a master's in early child development, and he has a bachelor's in sociology.
Oh, so he's not a doctor.
Yeah, he's not a medical doctor. No.
He's not an MD. He's an ED.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah. Well, that's important to know. Okay.
Yeah.
So
Yes,
I wanna.
But one of the most important things he said about the entire thing is that we're social creatures, and we're looking at a situation where parents are like trying to figure out how to feed their children, how to gain information and access, where is their next meal coming from, or as you said, the effects of when is this thing going to end, and how soon do I have before my landlord kicks me out?
Right. Right. So we gotta factor all of these things in, and the pressure. It's a pressure cooker, right? That's what it is, and and we're dealing with it.
Speaking of pressure cooker, how many women now are claiming Cuomo had made them feel uncomfortable? We're up to what?
Listen, I told you, man. So here it is for me.
Fake news.
I don't think it's fake news, right? I think it's real, and I think that what is, it just shows the hypocrisy again. Irrespective of what you thought about Kavanaugh and other Republicans or the Democrats who've been accused of the same thing, right? And then you had the other side railing against them that they ought to step down, they ought to resign, they ought not be confirmed, whatever the clarion call was. Well, now you have people taking sides again. Well, you have some Democrats, right? Some prominent Democrats who have come out and who have said Cuomo needs to step down. But you don't have the same. It's not with the same fervency from the media. Right, they're not pushing it the same way. They're kind of waiting to let the momentum build, and then they'll jump on board, I guess, at some point. But they're not a part of building the momentum, right? And I just think it's problematic, man, because it just shows again that that women are pawns. We are all pawns in the game, but for this particular game, the women are pawns. And then here's my other thing. I don't know. I'm asking this because I really don't know. Have the people from Me Too spoken out?
No.
There we go.
There's a reason why.
Okay.
Or I have, in my opinion, I think that there's a reason why.
Uh-huh.
You look at the truth of the Cuomo situation. All right. Is simply designed, or stating that, okay, I had to have sex with this man to keep my job, or I had to have sex with this man in order to advance or to move, and none of those premises or threats were involved in Como's case. Como is a single man. What do single men do with women? You hit on them. But in terms of that, and yes, he did say that, yes, he has hit on women, but he has never, ever, ever threatened anyone's job or fired anyone for hitting on them. Yeah, it was in bad taste to hit on people that you know.
So wait, stop it. Stop it. Stop it. So wait a minute. Stop it. So what you're saying is that Cuomo didn't understand how powerful a man he was.
Yes.
That's what
That's not what I'm saying.
No, well, wait a minute, because let me finish. Because the Me Too movement, right? It's about that. It's about the power. It's about the power and how the power is leveraged.
Well, see,
wait a minute, Jody, you got to speak up.
Here is the thing, Eric. The Me Too, like I said earlier, is about that leverage of power. Quid quo pro. You're doing this so that you can keep this, or you're doing this.
Right. So that's what I'm saying. So you think so Vincent. So what I'm saying is this. So you don't believe? I mean, come on. Stop it.
I believe because Cuomo has never exposed himself. He has never, ever, ever said, meet me here, and we're going to do this because you need your job. There was no power and leverage. The only power that was involved was the simple fact that Cuomo was governor.
Good, that's it. There it is. There it is. And let that be the reason. Go ahead, Jody.
Okay,
you got to speak up. Sis, I need you to speak up.
So one, oh my God, I don't even know where to start. So one, right, this isn't about, because he didn't offer some, he grabbed someone's face and kissed them, right?
Jody, I cannot hear you. You're breaking up.
Oh, hold on 1 second so I can make sure you hear me.
Okay.
I'll be back in a second.
Okay, Cuomo's innocent. So perfect.
No. Well, yes, and that's why the investigation has to go forward.
Well, no, I'm not arguing about. Listen, I'm not arguing about whether or not he is entitled to due process, right? That's not the argument here. The discussion that I'm having here is about the hypocrisy within the Democratic Party and the media, and how they choose, because they make decisions about who they don't believe deserves due process, who they believe should be tried in a court of public opinion. That's who I want to have the conversation about, one. And then secondly... Okay, go ahead, Jody.
So here's the thing, right? One, about the Democratic Party, and he did the same thing, right? That's what he does. That's what Vincent does, right? So it doesn't matter what you say. And I wanted to say this yesterday, right? When I was talking yesterday about that issue that you're talking about, right? There's different rules, and they act differently. They do propaganda. They are the same as that Republican Party. That's what's happening today, right? It didn't matter. No one broke it down to he's a single man. And the rule in the workplace is when you have power over a woman, these were young girls, right? And you don't do that. There's this line that you don't cross. Because what Vincent experiences as sexual harassment, no one cares what he thinks because he's not a woman. He's not a young woman working for a powerful man who says, who grabs you by the nape of your back, pulls you into his face, he's your boss. And let's not forget that the first woman he did that to, when she followed protocol, she felt uncomfortable. She went to his chief of staff and said, this is what was done to me. The result was, we'll move you to another freaking building. That is sexual harassment. That was furthering that power. So when she felt like it was okay that she might receive some support because he was in this
people getting to know exactly how this man treats people in general, let alone just women, she felt comfortable enough to say, hey, y'all, this happened to me. This is what they did. Vincent's response is the Democratic Party, right? That same ass messaging. That is the reason why we're here. But
this is response.
Let it.
Not the Democratic
Wait a minute.
Party.
Wait a minute.
I'm talking, right? But the response is, when I saw Joe Biden the other day give the speech on his first speech, right? I was like, cool. I'm able to say, because I'm not online, right, that the country needed that. The country needed that old dude to get up there like a grandfather and talk about humanity and talk about moving people forward and talking about we're going to be okay. Telling one side, but then still saying, I'm here for you. That was necessary. I don't mind saying that was good.
Jody, we got 15 minutes left.
No, let it go.
You're just mad. But at the same time, some folks aren't able to do that. Some folks have a messaging. Some folks feel like it's their job to defend behavior, no matter how insidious, no matter how disgusting, and it is not about the people, like I said yesterday, it's about politics. So Vincent, go ahead and do your political two-step.
Well, I don't do a political two-step because, one,
Well, go ahead, Vincent.
60-year-old white man. The other thing is this, in listening to what he said, and the majority of the claims, some of them are questionable, no doubt about it. But the ones that are coming out now are people who are saying, okay, he kissed me at a wedding. Okay, yes, that is not a Me Too movement. That's a man hitting on a woman. Now,
no, Jody, let him go. Let
me finish.
So, this is a woman, and she rejects it. Harassment. It's harassment if it's uncalled for.
It is. That's what I'm saying. Now, if I could please finish, what woman has not experienced an unwanted advance that they rejected them from? And they have walked away.
Right.
Yet when you reject the governor, and now it becomes harassment.
But there's the point, Vincent. Stop for a second. That is the point. Wait a minute, Jody, please. That is the point, Vincent. So the point is, if you have, and look, and because I have worked at very high levels in companies, right? And we have been called into HR, and you say you own a company, so I hope you call your people in their HR, and you have the conversation about what's appropriate and what's not appropriate, right?
Yes,
so
we do.
Right, there we go. So then stop it, because the conversation. Wait a minute. The conversation that's had, Vincent, is, Eric, you're their boss. Eric, you're a senior vice president. Eric, this is unacceptable behavior. So for me to take an underling, somebody, especially somebody who works for me, whose paycheck is directly tied to what I think about them, and then I pull them in close to me, or I grab them, what's going through their mind, Vincent, so stop it. What's going through their mind is, am I going to lose my job if I reject him? All of that is going through their mind, and that's what makes it different. That's what makes it different.
Okay, what makes it different?
No, I just told you what makes it different. I don't need you to repeat me.
What makes it different, Eric, is the simple fact, and that in all of these cases, there was, in fact, 75% of these cases were not work-related. There was that percentage that was, and then they moved her. In fact, I think it was 3. But now people are just showing up saying that, this happened 4, 5, 6 years ago.
Right. And what is
that this is too Republican convenient.
Vincent. So listen. So what I'm gonna say is this. Hold on. What I'm gonna say is this, right? I'm gonna go back and look through the background, right, of all of them, right? But Vincent, even if it's one is too many. One is too many. But to make excuses for him, right? And so again, I want to go back to where I started. Where I started is saying, yes, I believe that everybody's entitled to due process. What I am deeply concerned about is how political it becomes, right? How everybody jumps to their red or blue corners and then they defend, and they hold their nose and they defend. That is the conversation that I'm having. And then I'm now saying that screw Me Too, because they are political as well. That's where I am.
Saying Me Too is not responding to this because it's political and that they're Democratic and they don't want to go against a Democrat?
What he said is, why aren't they responding? He never said that's not why they're responding. That's you.
Okay. Okay, so give me some clarity. Why do you feel Me Too is not responding to all of this?
I think it's political. I believe it's all political, Vincent. I believe it's. I believe that they, in the end, Me Too is more blue than they are red.
Well, Me Too didn't go all off about Donald Trump saying pat the P or grab him by the JJ. Me Too didn't go all off when there were accusations about Biden during the primaries. Me Too went off when they were when they were actually people coming forward and saying that, no, I did this because of that, or no, he pointed out to me directly that this has an effect upon my livelihood.
Okay. I just want everybody to pay attention. I want everybody to pay attention and hear the deafening silence of Me Too right now, and the media. And the media, and then I want, all I want is for you guys who watch or listen to the show to tell me whether or not you see the same level of attention and the same level of push for resignation letter and all this other stuff that you see on the other side. Just tell me, right? That's all I'm asking. Like, do you see it? And like I said, MSNBC and all that stuff. I don't watch them. But are they talking about it? Are they telling him to step down?
I don't know. I don't watch MSNBC.
So I watch it all. I watch everybody because I want to know what everybody is thinking. And they're reporting it, Eric. They're not giving. When you think of people like Brzezinski. On the Morning Joe show. He just reports it.
Oh, so they're not being opinionated right now.
They report it like, hey, this is happening and this is the latest and greatest, but they give no opinion.
Right.
Like, they gave opinions about Donald Trump, like Lisa Brzezinski called him all sorts of names. No.
And they gave opinions about Kavanaugh, right? They gave opinions about Kavanaugh. They gave opinions about all of that, right?
They gave opinions about Warner or Wiener.
Oh, no. Well, listen, he gave them no choice. Listen. No. You know what, though? See, yeah, I'm not even going to, see, that's a rabbit hole, Vincent.
You know what? That's like the rabbit hole.
That's a rabbit hole. You got a guy who's taking a picture, a selfie with his kid, right? Yeah, they had no choice. See, so that's the nuance there. He left them no out. See, they're outs, and so what we're saying is that Morning Joe, that those people will look to find an out, or they'll look to find an in, right? That's the nature of this conversation, that they look to find outs and they look to find ins, right? And so, when it's somebody who they're trying to tear down, then they look to find any way in to do it, right? And then if they want to protect somebody, they look to find any out. But with Wiener, he just didn't give them an out. And so this is what we'll say, that when they do come for somebody, they had no goddamn choice. And I'm saying that they found a choice and they made one when it comes to Governor Cuomo. And now I want to say this other thing too. Governor Cuomo, out of his own mouth, has talked about people resigning and stepping down and all this other kind of stuff, right, at behavior. He doesn't hold his own self to the same standard.
And that's what I'm saying. In Cuomo, and in terms of them going after him, this was a way in.
And then wait a minute. And where's Fredo? Yeah, you know what I'm talking about. Where's Fredo?
Fredo told his network, "No, I am not reporting that about my brother."
Right.
Told them.
Right.
And they said, okay.
So I got no respect for any of them.
Well.
See, because for me, Fredo, right? It's not about his brother. It's about these women. But see, he made it about his brother. See.
Well, okay. It's about these women talking about his brother.
Right.
He said.
So, but what it said. So what it says to me, right? And it says about the network is that they allow you to choose.
That's right.
You see, they allow Fredo to choose.
Mm-hmm. Well, you look at you. Yes, that is true, but that is only on certain media outlets that they allow them or give them artistic creativity to choose their subject matter.
Artistic creativity over the news. I love that. Artistic creativity over the news. Be creative.
You look at artistic creation in terms of the news outlets when they stop going into reporting the facts, yet giving the opinion.
Gosh.
There is no more the Walter Cronkite and Harry Reasoners up there who just report the story. Now people have flocked to the opinion base, the experts to substantiate the opinion, and then now the public riled up about their opinion that they planted the seed in them. So, what I was saying, which leads us to this actual point, a lot of it is basically opinion. And we won't know until the investigation is done. And then, hey, even the investigation may be suspect.
Yeah. He's in my book, both Cuomos are scum.
Well, he may be scum. But however, he made national attention by begging to the president to get him ventilators, begging to get people eating, and begging for help for New York when New York was the epicenter.
Okay.
Lord have mercy.
Okay.
Lord have mercy.
All right.
And,
So I wanna we got like 4 minutes, right? I just wanna go back to something that we were talking about yesterday, right? When we were talking about and maybe we probably don't have enough time to really cover this. We were talking about like major structural change, right? Whether or not we were going to get to that, and then the title of the show was "Is it all an illusion" or whatever. And this is, because I'm like really reading this book, Dr. King, in 1967, he talked about how far we lagged behind white folks in education, right? He said Negroes lagged 1 to 3 years behind whites in education. He talked about a substantial decrease in funding for segregated black schools compared to white schools. He talked about 75% of blacks or non-whites being in menial jobs, right? And then he went on to talk about some other things that were structural that led to poverty. And so when we look at these things in 2021, right, if we talked about where blacks lag behind in terms of whites in education, the lack of funding in schools that are predominantly black, and we saw through COVID, right, who were the frontline workers in a lot of these jobs. I was like, wait a minute. He said this in 67. Right? And so the question that I'm asking is, so when we talked about this, and we save this for a broader discussion again, But when we look at this $1.9 trillion thing, and they going around saying that this is going to lift people out of poverty, going to lift us out of poverty, going to resolve these things.
No, they said that this will decrease child poverty.
I thought. Wait a minute, no. I heard terms like lift out of poverty.
No.
Okay.
No.
Okay.
What they said was
they
said that this bill will decrease
No.
poverty.
That's
But
okay.
the
I don't want to
only
argue.
people who
I don't want to. I don't want to
actually
argue the point.
to
Right.
lift out of poverty is the Black Farmer Loan Forgiveness Act.
Right. So my question is this: if the things that we're talking about is as Dr. King talked about it in '67, that where we lag behind in terms of education, where we lag behind in terms of funding in our schools, where we are in terms of these menial jobs, right? And I can go on. There's a whole bunch of other stuff, right? In terms of healthcare disparities, literally 67 is talking about all of this, right? Infant mortality rates in our communities, all of these things, right? I'm going like that structurally, all of that is still in place. And,
Yes.
and Dr. King talked about, the lack of willingness, right? Like to enforce the laws that or legislation that they passed, right? That they passed legislation, but they didn't enforce it.
They passed legislation that was watered down. They passed it because it was watered down because everybody is now being pragmatists because they're tired of the long-standing fight between the opposite parties. They passed legislation that has no teeth.
This one hasn't passed any legislation at all.
What are you talking about? We just got the COVID-19 bill going, $1.9 trillion. That's legislation.
And what is that legislation? What is it going to do? Because when you talk about when you keep saying that it's going to affect child poverty or lift children out of poverty, I don't know how you lift children out of poverty if I'm a poor black woman and my children are therefore in poverty, right? How the hell will you lift them out of poverty without me being lifted out of poverty?
Okay, children are the largest impoverished group in America. Why? Because they don't. And Jody, I can explain it to you, and if you would listen, and you can't listen because you keep talking.
All right, but Vincent, okay, so Vincent, I'm gonna say this, like tone, man, like seriously, your tone is disrespectful, right? So yeah, so you could say what you have to say without being disrespectful. Go ahead.
And I'm feeling disrespected because I'm talking and she keeps jumping in, and I did make that promise to not do.
But that's okay. I get jumped in on, and I keep. But I get jumped in on.
Yeah, I digress.
Right. There we go. There we go. Go ahead. So
children are the most impoverished in America, and they are the most impoverished in America because they have no therefore income and are dependent upon their parents. Parents of low income have a propensity to focus more on doing things like feeding them rather than increasing their wealth. So they basically they become impoverished adults. So the Child Care Credit Acts in this bill gives substantial money to help get things and if parents use it right, because now they have more income, it would help to improve the quality of life of their children. That's what they mean.
Okay. So I think that,
Again, I will say, the $3,000 tax credit for children via their parents, right, does not lift children out of poverty. That is not a legislative action that will lift children out of poverty. You would have to lift the parent out of poverty. These aren't children just walking around the street, right, without parents. They are children to parents, right? So $250 starting July that is going to a mother that is in poverty does not lift the child out of poverty.
Right.
That is ridiculous.
So I think that what Jody is saying. So
Let's look at
wait a minute, Vincent. So
$20,000 a year.
no, but Vincent,
that $20,000 a year, 40% of it goes to taxes, which means that sister is now $8,000 short. Now, getting $3,000 credit back on those taxes means that now she puts $3,000 lump sum in her pocket. If that ain't lifting something, then nothing else is.
That's not lifting her out of poverty, right? $20,000 a year is poverty.
Correct.
$20,000 in this country is poverty. So giving me $3,000 more as a tax credit cannot lift me out of poverty. $15 an hour, which they are trying to pass, is still poverty. $30,000 a year in this country, in most states, does not lift people out of poverty. $30,000 a year is poverty. That is not lifting people out of poverty. And you know that. Listen, I don't care how disrespectful you get. I don't care how you play the game with words that aren't really saying anything. Poverty is poverty, right? And unless you pass legislative changes that actually lift families, not children, but families out of poverty, you are not lifting people out of poverty.
Right. So I think wait, Vincent, wait a minute, Vincent, wait a minute, Vincent, 1 second. So I think that, right, I think that Jody is conceding, and I'm certainly conceding that if somebody had $3,000 more dollars, it gave them $3,000 more dollars to do some stuff with. Somebody gets $1,400, they got $1,400 to do more stuff with. They get $250 a month or whatever it is, they got $250 a month to do more stuff with. The question is that extra money lifting them out of poverty? Or is it extra money?
Now, here is the answer. According to the United States Update of Financing and Economics, in the U.S., $12,760 is the threshold for poverty. A family of four, which includes two children, the poverty level is $26,200.
Right.
Okay, so Vincent, if you're making $26,200 in New Jersey, where you're gonna live with two kids, so we're gonna just want to do the basic math. Basic, an apartment, and I've been showing apartments, basic, and they aren't even this price here in this area. $1,000 apartment. 1 bedroom only. But
that's 12,000. That's 12,000 out of your 26.
Okay, listen. But you got a boy and a girl, so they need separate rooms. So somebody has to sleep in the living room. Somebody gets a room because you got three of you now. Okay, so that's $12,000. You just deducted 12,000 from the 20. What is it? 22.
26.
What's the balance?
14.
And the balance isn't very good.
It's 14.
14,000.
Okay, so take that. I'm just going to say bare minimum, $200 a month for food. So you multiply 200 times 12. What's that?
24.
1,400.
Okay.
I'm sorry.
24. 2,400.
Thank you. 2,400.
I'm going to deduct that. I'm going to say minimum $50 a week, $100 a month for gas and transportation, whether you're taking the bus cars, whatever. For 3 people, $100. That's another $1,200, right? Okay. So now you got to have clothes because the kids have to have something to wear. You got 2 kids. So I'm just going to average $100 for each kid per month because that's including whether they're uniforms, not uniforms, whether they're home sneakers, pajamas, underwear because they constantly growing, socks, all of that. Just the bare necessities. $200 times 12. What's that?
Now we're talking to another 2,400.
Your son got to get a haircut at least once a month. At least.
$10.
At least once a month. Now, let's not say that our kids ain't getting haircuts and going to the barbershop, into the beauty store. So,
please don't forget gas and electric. Let's not forget that.
Oh, yeah. So we'll go back. PSE&G for those in this northern Jersey area. Gas and electric. And I'm going to tell you what it runs. I had an apartment that was empty. Had nobody in it. It ran the gas, the electric ran $35 a month, empty. Now I have a tenant in there, one person, and it has now doubled to $70 a month times 12. That's just the electric. Now we have, because it's gas heating. The gas heating is an average of $100 a month. On top of that, a water bill, because not every tenant is water included. Some have to pay their own water bills. Water bill is low, $25 to $30, so $30 a month on top of that. Then you got cable, because your kids are home and they have to have internet service, and you're working from home. Internet service, bare minimum for all three people to be on tablets, average $150 a month, and that's the basic package. So you tell me how much money you got left over.
Right.
And don't forget, God forbid your baby gets sick and you got to go to the hospital. Now you got an emergency room bill that you got to fork out, and 3 other bills that came with it, because the doctor is giving you a bill, the hospital has now sent you a bill, and now you got collections on your back because you still didn't pay other stuff that were still behind before you got this extra money. So stop
right.
it.
So Diane. So here's what it is.
Diane's calculations, you're at
what?
So here's where we are, right?
$20,000.
Right. So here's where we are. Wait. One second. No. Stop. I'm gonna put it into this. I'm gonna put it into this. Wait a minute. Wait.
Dollar day insurance and only had to pay $360 a year. That's still another $360 out their pocket. Go ahead, Eric.
Diane, so here's what I'm going to do, right? Because I think Vincent's going to argue the semantics of it, right? By calculating how much and then saying, well, we still got $400 or $300, right? Or whatever. But the fact is, so I'll start, wait, let me, but I'll start with this. Vincent would never live under those conditions himself, right? He would never live under those, he would protest those conditions himself. Right? Let me finish. And I think that we're advocating for other people who are in those conditions. But Vincent, because he's not in those conditions, is advocating for the politicians who say that they're doing a great job for those people who are in those conditions. I think that's what I see the difference here. Let me finish, and then you can talk. Right?
Okay.
Because I'm looking and going, wow, that's a hell of a way to live. And so if at the end of the day, we're playing semantics and going, well, if we reach this dollar number, right, then we can say based on statistics, right, that we're moving people based on a dollar number out of what we're calling poverty, but we're not really paying attention to the quality or lack thereof of the lives that they're living, right, then I think that we're doing a disservice to them as human beings. Now I'm done.
Okay, now that last part I do agree with. We are doing a disservice to the quality of life. But to go back to when you're saying, Vincent is saying that the politicians are doing a good job, no, they could do better. And I'll say that with a great deal of fervor. However, if we look at the situation and all the bills that Diane therefore said, now, before this bill passed, they got no $3,000 to help with all those bills that they had, which basically keeps them in a system of poverty. What I'm saying now is that $3,000 does help.
Oh no, I don't think anybody's denying it helps.
That's all I'm saying.
Right, but the question is, no, but I said that earlier. I think that we could all agree that 300, my grandfather used to say, air one beats an air one. So 3,000 is better than nothing. Got it. But when they're going around touting that they're lifting people out of poverty, right? That narrative is a dangerous one when we all understand what's happening. Yes, I don't think that anybody's going to reject the $3,000 that they're giving them. I don't think if they lowered it from $3,000.
Reject. I believe it's $3,000 per child.
Right. But my point. But I think again you're missing a point. I think if they lowered it to $500, people would take it. Nobody's going to give it back. But the question is whether or not their quality of lives are going to be improved. And the answer is no. And so, but the narrative, when you say poverty, right, and then you look at this number, right, which is what they're basing it on, not quality of life, right? Just like, you know what it's like, Vincent? It's like people saying a livable wage. Right? Livable wage.
That's called working poor.
Right. But the same difference, right? But then you'll have people going around driving the narrative livable wage, right? Giving the
Eric,
impression,
Eric.
wait a minute, giving the impression
Okay.
that people's quality of lives are going to be okay now if we lift the wage to this, right? That
No.
because that's a narrative.
No, that's see, everybody has that impression that it happens if we move the wage, and that only is a very temporary thing because now people feel like you got disposable income, and here comes inflation. But to get back to your point, in terms of $3,000 per child, as we talk with the family of 4, 2 adults, 2 children living in that whole place, now we've got an additional $6,000 coming to them.
No, and I think
if
that
they're making $26,000 a year, they have now basically increased that by $6,000.
right, and again,
in terms of improving the quality of life, no, they are not going to have filet mignon every day. But
right.
they're not going to have beans every day either.
Right, but they're not going to be. But there's still going to be poverty. They're still going to be impoverished.
Don't stress yourself. Don't stress
That's the
yourself.
statement, right? So
Hey,
yeah,
yeah.
they'll have fewer beans. They'll have maybe a little more salad. They'll maybe buy a little more stuff, but they'll still be impoverished. That is the statement.
Agreed.
There we go. And I think that's all we were
They're
trying
gonna
to.
have a little more. And for some, and for a lot, they are going to be impoverished. And for some, it will lift them maybe an inch or 2 above impoverished.
All right. Thank you guys for tuning in. Tomorrow's Wednesday. I'm off. And then we'll be back and we'll carry on. But Thursday, right? Is it an illusion? That's the question I want you guys to pay attention to, right? And and as we get into this book, where do we go from here, right? I'm telling you, man, read it. There's a lot that is in there that pertains to right now, and it's crazy. All of these decades later, right? You had, yeah.
Yes, but you know what it's based upon when he wrote that? It was based upon the actual true principles of Reconstruction and what we did not get in that period. But
yeah, but we're still not getting.
Yeah, still not getting.
Still not getting. That's what I'm saying. Right. So we're still not getting it. Right. But you got some well-meaning white folks out there in terms of some things, right? What they don't want, what they don't want to tolerate anymore, but what they don't want to accept. Right. What they won't tolerate, what they won't accept. Right, and then in terms of the things that they won't accept is where we get the white backlash. But we'll continue it, and I can't wait until the 7th, Diane, where we crack this thing open, because it's going to be enlightening to those who are interested in being enlightened. Thank you guys for tuning in. See you guys on Thursday if it's God's will. Stay safe. Mask up. Mask up.